This is Grammatist, the show that helps you sharpen your language skills for the corporate world and beyond. I'm your host, Monishree. It's Monday at 5:30 p.m. again, so it is time for us to make our time more optimum and to overhaul our professional English. So today we are starting off with an outstanding letter, the letter O, which is helping in fueling optimization, outcomes, operations, objectives, and orchestration. So starting off from short essentials that we use in our everyday life to a few sophisticated corporate words, we are going to go through a few O words which will make you sound more objective, more organized, and outcome oriented during your meetings and your reviews. So let's start off with a few short words. We are starting off with the word of, spelled OF, which means belonging to something. This is a preposition which means belonging to something. So whenever we're talking about a person or a thing that belongs to something else, we use of. So for example, you can say head of the department, head of the sales, head of office, CEO of office. So belonging to that particular office. The next word is on. On is something in progress or something that is active. For example, when we say the project is on track or the learning is on track, it means it is active, it is in progress. The next word we have is or, which is used whenever you're giving alternate choices. When you're giving two different choices or multiple choices, you use the word or to list out the choices. For example, we can say, do you want to learn virtually or in person? Right. The next we have a few three-letter words. We'll start off with of. We learned that the two-letter of word spelled OF means belonging to something. When you use the three-letter of word, which is spelled OFF, it means something that is not active or something that is away from the required situation. For example, we can say the server went off during our work, during our project work, which means it was not active, it was not on. Or we are going off track in this meeting, meaning we're going away from what is supposed to be discussed. The next three-letter word is old, which means something that is aged or something that was previously used. For example, we can say the old processor was very slow for a project. The next is odd, which is something that is uneven or something that is strange. So, for example, we can say we had a very odd number of attendees, meaning a very uneven number or a strange number, something that we did not expect to happen. The next word is ode, which is just one letter different from odd. Odd is spelled ODD. Ode is spelled ODE, which is like a poetic phrase when you're dedicating something in a poetic way. Then they use the word ode. So, for example, we can say we want to pay an ode to our top performers. So when you're praising someone, you use the word ode. The next is orb, spelled ORB, which simply means sphere. So metaphorically, when in corporate terms, you might hear people saying global orb, which simply means the world. So when someone says a global orb of opportunities there ahead of us, they're talking about a world of opportunities. The next three-letter word we have is O. O is spelled OWE, which means something that you're indebted. When you're indebted to someone, when you're in debt of someone, you use I owe them. So, for example, we can say we owe our clients transparency, or we owe our clients efficiency. All right, so those were a few short words. Now let's move on to a few more 4 or 5 letter words that we use in our daily corporate language. We'll start off with the word over. Over simply means something that is above a set target or something that is completed. So when you're saying over, you can either mean we completed it, it's finished, or it can mean it is above the requirement. So for example, we crossed over the budget by 3%, which means more than the budget, whatever is the discussion went above 3%, above the budget by 3%. The next word is only. Only means exclusive, just that one. So when you're talking about just one particular group or one particular item, then you use the word only. For example, only the top 10% got the bonus this time. All right. The next word is open. Open is when you're being transparent about something and you're not being closed, when you're sharing everything. So you, for example, you might have heard about open door policy. So open door policy means your manager or the leader who's talking about having an open door policy is being transparent with you. They don't have anything to hide from you or not share with you. The next word is once. For example, once simply means at a time, at some time. So, for example, you might say once in a lifetime. When you're getting a promotion or opportunity to work with a client, you can call that as a once in a lifetime opportunity, which means you're getting that only just once in the lifetime, just one time. The next is oven. Oven is a cooking appliance, but metaphorically in the corporate language, people might use oven to represent hot, the heat. So, for example, we can say the market is oven hot right now, meaning it is very high, extremely high. The next word is ogle. Ogle means staring at something or someone very much, like to an extreme. When you're staring, that is called ogle. But metaphorically, when you want to have something very much, you badly want to have something for yourself, you can say ogle. So, for example, we can say our competitors are ogling at our tech advancements, meaning they badly want it. They are not able to handle it, doing it. The next word is omni. Omni means all. So this is used as a prefix when you're talking about everything. So for example, when I say we have an omni-channel set up for conversations, meaning we have all possible channels available for conversations, or we have an omni-channel customer experience service setup. That means we have all possible channels available for customers to use. So over here, omni-channel might talk about emails, chats, phone calls, multiple channels together. Okay. The next word we have is order. Order means a sequence or a command. So when you're putting something in a sequence, it is called an order. When you're commanding someone, that can also be called as an order. For example, when you say a purchase order has been approved, this talks about a sequence of all the billing or all the requirements we need. The next is other, meaning a different one. When you're talking about a different option, you use the word other. So, for example, we can say other vendors are more expensive than this vendor. So we're saying, or everyone else, all the different ones are more expensive. The next word is outer, which means the external layer or the topmost team. So when we say the outer team handles first contact, we're talking about the first layer of the team. The next is Oscar. Oscar is the award, but metaphorically, when you're recognizing someone's performance really well, in that case, you might use the word Oscar. For example, you can say the team has earned an Oscar level praise, meaning they have done so well that they deserve an Oscar award. Oscar is equal in acting, so whatever is equivalent in our industry, they deserve that level of praise. The next word we have is ozone. Ozone is the protective layer we have around our Earth, but metaphorically, it refers to sheet. So, for example, when we say following our HR compliance creates an ozone layer for our company, we're talking about a protective shield. It helps protect everyone in the company. The next is avoid. Avoid, ovoid, spelled O-V-O-I-D, which metaphorically means a very smooth item or something that is very smooth. So, for example, you can say an ovoid negotiation style avoids friction. So, a smooth negotiation style. The next word we have is overt. Overt, spelled O-V-E-R-T, means something that is done openly, something that is available for everyone to look into. So, for example, you can say an overt strategy shift has been announced. The next word we have is olive. Olive is considered the peace symbol. So, when someone says, I am extending an olive branch to you, it means they are trying to make peace with you. They're trying to come into peace with you. The next word we have is omens, spelled O-M-E-N-S. These are the signs that we get of the future. It could be good or bad. So, for example, we say we have a positive sign or a negative sign. about the upcoming quarter. We can say a positive omen or a negative omen. All right. Now let's move on to a few operation level overwords, something that are sophisticated and ruling our organizations with optimization, outcomes, and organization dynamics. We'll start off with the word offer, which means a proposal or a bid. When you're proposing something, when you're sharing a proposal, we can call that an offer. So, for example, we can say we countered the competitor's offer strategically. The next word we have is offset, meaning a counterbalance. When you're trying to have something to balance off. So, for example, we can say a cost offset what happened by a volume growth. The next word is ongoing. Ongoing simply means something that is continuing, something that is happening continuously. So, for example, we can say the ongoing training session builds our AI skills. The next word we have is operate. Operate is when something is being functioned effectively. So, for example, we can say the team is operating in an agile mode or in an energetic mode. The next is optimal. Optimal is something that is the best possible option. So, for example, when I say optimal resource, we're talking about the best possible resource available with us. The next is organic. In corporate terms, metaphorically, organic means something that is a natural growth. So, for example, organic leads are cheaper and long term. So, something that naturally occurred. We didn't have to spend too much. We didn't have to take any shortcuts to achieve those leads. The next word is outlook. Outlook means a future prospect. So when we're talking about, let's say, optimistic outlook for, we have an optimistic outlook for expansion. We're talking about something that is going to happen in the future. Okay, the next word we have for today is optimization, which means maximum efficiency. So when we say the SEO optimization drives traffic to all our social media pages, we're talking about its maximum efficiency. The next is objective, which means a specific goal that we're trying to achieve. For example, we can say smart objectives drive performance within our teams. The next is onboarding, where we talk about a new hire integration, where we are helping a new hire join our team, officially learn everything about our office and join the team and start taking over responsibilities. For example, you can say we have created a 10-day onboarding roadmap for all the new hires. The next is offshoring. Offshoring is where you're having operations of business overseas across the sea. So, for example, we can say our offshoring business cut costs by 30%. The next we have is overhead. Overhead is the ongoing business cost. We're talking about the ongoing business cost that is considered the overhead cost. So, for example, we can say we have to reduce the overhead without cutting the quality. The next is outsource. Outsource is where we are contracting something to an external provider. So, for example, we can say our clients are outsourcing their non-core functions to us. All right, so we have orbited triumphantly to the O conclusion. So, O is equal to optimization, outcomes, operations, and objectives. So, here is your challenge for this week. Work on at least sharing one objective of yours with your manager and push yourself to achieve that objective as well. And also try to track one of your outcomes proving your impact to your team. Thank you for tuning into Grammatist on DC Live, where we care, we share, and we are on air. I'll see you next Monday at 5:30 p.m. Until then, work on optimizing your operations and outperform that ordinary.